searching, never knowing how my life would go. I was hurting, always searching with an empty soul. Then you found me, I could not believe my world stood still. I was staring at the
Back on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. Wow, the name of that song, Collide, from Ben Utecht. I tell you, great to have his music in, and I know you want to get to it, you can do it on the normal things. Download it, go to his website, go anywhere you need to find music. You can find Ben's music, Utecht. Great to have him in today, right here on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. And Ben, before we get to where you're going with your next album and music, I know this is a huge issue, this concussion thing for you, because it did end your career, as it has many other players.
Yep.
A couple days ago, you know Kurt Warner, we both respect his opinion, we both love what he did on and off the field, but as an NFL Network guy, he came out and said that, you know, if he had to do it now with his own kids, he wouldn't want them to play football.
Sure.
And Armani Toomer came out on ESPN, who's also an analyst with the NFL, was a great New York Giants Super Bowl champion, and said that he thought he didn't agree with Kurt Warner in terms of Warner having a position in the NFL as an NFL Network analyst, and that could deter a lot of kids out there in youth football from having the chance to play, because parents would say, hey, if Kurt Warner says that's the case, then we don't need to let our kids play. Where do you fall on that?
Well, I mean, again, I go back to education. I think that I don't feel the exact same way that Kurt Warner does, but at the same time, you know, we as parents have to be fully educated so that we can make wise decisions for our kids. And I think if you do that, then you're going to know when it's time to take your children out of a contact sport and not push them to the limits. And I think, I mean, I have 3 girls, so I'm probably not going to have to worry about football players. But if I had boys, and with my experience, the fact that this ended my career, and now how much knowledge I have on this injury, you know, there is going to be a cutoff point. There is going to be a specific number that I have in my mind, and when that is reached, it is over. And I think that that's one of the things that people are not willing to give up. They're not willing to give up the need to win. They're not willing to give up, you know, the chance that their child being a, you know, collegiate or a professional athlete. And these are things that we have to be able to let go of and make sure that the health of our children is most important. But if we treat it right, if we rehab the injury right, I'm not concerned about allowing my children to play contact sports, but I will make sure that they're handled properly, and that if they continue, that specific sport is probably going to have to end.
Ben Utecht, former Super Bowl champion, Indianapolis Colts, is our guest on Sold Out Sports Talk and AFR Talk. And of course, you want to learn more about Ben, you can go to Ben Utecht, Utecht, on Facebook, or at Ben Utecht on Twitter. Also, BenUtecht.com to check out all he's doing. Is he has a new career now, and you know, one of the things that you said was so key, Ben, and this is something that we all went through in terms of playing the game. When you have a situation like this one, where the NFL is changing rules. The NFL is basically telling guys that have hit a certain way their whole life that they're going to have to change. That has to come down to the high school, junior high, and Pop Warner level like you're talking about. A lot of that is having coaches that know how to coach hitting.
Yep.
And right now, concussions are up at the high school level, and they're up at the Pop Warner level, I believe, too. And you made a key point. So much of this is about the competitiveness, the pressure for kids to go forward, parents seeing that, you know, in a recession that we have an opportunity, more opportunities than ever for kids to get scholarships. if you were a coach today, what would be the number one point that you would make to parents?
That we need to create an environment where our children feel safe to communicate everything they're going through. And I think, after being in Minnesota and stepping out as an advocate for this and working with coaches and parents, I've learned that so often kids suppress everything that they're afraid will have a negative effect on their lives. And if they're going into a coaching environment on a team in high school and they feel tremendous pressure that they have to be on the field or that they have to do everything possible to win, then they will not communicate to their coaches or to their parents when they're dealing with an injury, especially a concussion. And at home, if as parents we are, putting undue pressure on them or creating an environment that is full of stress, well, they're not going to feel comfortable in telling us how they're feeling and what they're going through. So we need to put a precedence on making sure that we create an environment for our kids that give them the freedom to be able to communicate what they're going through, because it's very important, especially in a concussion, that whoever has the injury is able to communicate exactly what they're feeling, because the rehab process is so specific, and we need to make sure that they feel open and that they feel safe and secure to be able to communicate those things.
Ben Utecht, our guest on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. And Ben, you had your first Christian album that came out in 2009. I know that you've been on two different outlets in terms of having the opportunity to go out and tour. Right now, where are you at in terms of your mainstream career? Last time we talked, you were looking at opportunities for record companies, and now I think you told me that you're looking forward to doing a new album. Where are you in this process? And I think the other question for me is how tough has the transition been in competing at this level in your music career as football?
Sure. Well, it's been an interesting journey for me the last couple of years. I've had to really redefine myself and pull on a different passion of mine that I've had ever since I was a little kid. I grew up singing, since I was in fourth grade, the first time I ever put on a football helmet. So it's been a major part of my life. And, my true passion in singing kind of falls in this classical crossover realm. So if you're someone who likes a Michael Bublé or a Josh Groban, then you'll definitely be drawn to my music. And so that's the direction that I'm going, and it's been amazing because I've always been someone that is committed to going against the flow, and I think that the last thing people expect is a 6'6", 245-pound, Super Bowl champion to come out and sing romantic music, maybe even in a different language,
Didn't you do it in the locker room, though? Didn't you start there?
Well, I promise you I wasn't singing romantic music to to my teammates, but it's but I definitely sang. I definitely stepped out even in high school. It's funny because as I've gotten some great PR over this, USA Today cover story labeled me as the real life Glee guy. If you're someone who watches the Fox television show Glee, you'd understand that their lead character, is a star football player, but has this massive passion to sing, and that was really my life to a T. I was in 5 choirs and I was in band, but I was in 3 sports. So my life was even more about the arts than it was about sports, and so it's given me a great platform to kind of encourage kids to step out and to pursue their passions no matter what people think, and to overcome stereotypes, and so it's a great chance for me to do that. And it's not been easy. I mean, Roman, you played, and I miss it every day. I wish I was out there with my teammates. There's nothing like the feeling of being out there with your teammates and competing, and I always felt like all I needed was to walk away from the NFL and say that I reached my potential. But because of this injury, the concussion, I really was unable to do that. And so it's tough for me to have to battle as a man to kind of battle those emotions, and really I've tried to turn that energy into, the goal of being able to reach my potential as a musician. And so we're really hopeful and prayerful that that the right music label or partner is going to come along, and that this is going to be a career that I can do for the rest of my life.
Couple minutes left with Ben Utecht, former Indianapolis Colts Super Bowl champion, now music artist. And if you want to find out all about his music career and all the other things he's doing ministry-wise as well, you can do it on his Facebook page at Ben Utecht, Utecht, or at Ben Utecht on Twitter, or benutecht.com. Or music-wise, I should say BenjaminUtecht.com. Sorry about that. BenjaMin, BenjaminUtecht.com for his music. Got to ask you this question because I've always thought about this, and I love music. My iPod, I've got every kind of music in the world on there. I actually love country western.
Cool.
And as I watch these guys perform, there's always been this addict that athletes want to be musicians and musicians want to be athletes.
Right.
Well, it's true. I mean, both of them go together. Entertainment and sports and ministry for us has been a powerful thing because kids so respond to that.
Yep.
But tell me about what that's like to have two dream opportunities. And although you were out early as a football player, you did get a Super Bowl ring, so you did hit the top. Mm-hmm. So what's your goal as a musician?
Well, I'd like for a Grammy to go right next to the Super Bowl ring. No.
Has anybody ever done that? Would that be a first time?
No. I mean, I know that Mike Reed, who was the first rounder at Cincinnati years ago, won a Grammy, but I don't think he never won a Super Bowl. So that might be the first that has ever happened. But that, I've always reached for the stars, and I feel like that's the only way that I can succeed. And so, I mean, I've put those kind of goals out there, but more importantly, I think my main goal as an artist is just to connect with people. I mean, I'm a relational person, and it's the one thing that I enjoy so much more about music is that, on the football field, we're behind a mask and we're 50 to 100 yards away from every one of our fans, and there's a disconnect. We can't really find that connection. And so for me on the stage, I get a chance to look at every person in the eye and connect with them, and that's an awesome thing.
Ben Utecht, thank you for coming on Sold Out Sports Talk and AFR. Hold in there, and we'll talk more with you when that album comes out.
Thanks a lot, Roman.
Appreciate you, Ben. Back on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk.